Alright, Bonehogs, this video is all about Mortal Kombat 1. NRS just dropped a teaser trailer for the patch notes that are coming tomorrow, August the 8th, and we finally have some Quan Chi buffs. So I wanted to go over kind of my thoughts on this whole little 6.5 minute video that they put out here. And yeah, there's some good stuff in here. I just want to overall say that, like, there was a group of people that really were hoping that they would just buff everybody and, you know, make it kind of a crazy party game. And I could not be more on the opposite side of that. I was really hoping that they were just kind of balance everything out, bring down the top a little bit, bring up the bottom, and then kind of have everyone exist on the same plane. So let's kind of get into this here and we'll see what we're dealing with.
Accept your death.
Alright, patch notes, here we go. So Shang Tsung. So he's got some plus frames now. So 2-4, it's not super plus, but +1, so that's something. His problem was that he was always giving up his turn every single time. So at least now he has something and kind of keep it his turn. So that's good. That, another way to start combos, is also another good thing for him. It'll be interesting to see how hit confirmable this is. Doesn't look really, unless you hit like the first hit. But I mean, you get some staggers going, you get some plus frames, you know, that whole thing. So an interesting change, not one I would have thought of, to be honest. But and then Liu Kang changes, so this is interesting. So they made that special cancelable. I actually didn't think Liu Kang needed anything, to be honest. I thought that he was just sitting pretty, you know, especially with, you know, Liu Kang, Motaro, and all that kind of stuff. But maybe they just wanted to give him more ways and open up for more cameos, and I certainly appreciate that. Moving on to Sektor, an old flame of mine. So Airburst Grenade does less damage. Looks like it does about 50 damage here. I don't exactly remember how much it did before, but the fact that it only does 50 now is still pretty crazy. And it no longer builds meter on whiff. So yeah, so you're making a read on movement and you're also building meter even if your read is wrong. I think that's a super cool way to balance her, and I think that is welcome. And then we have the canceling flamethrower, and EX flamethrower deals less damage. So yeah, 100 damage there. And then if you do the Motaro thing, it already was pretty nerfed damage to begin with. So yeah. Reptile changes. I don't know much about Reptile, so they changed that one string. I've noted that a lot of the Reptile players I see, their biggest gripe was the back 3-1 string, I think it was, like sometimes whiffing even on hit. So I thought that would kind of be like the first thing that they would address. But I mean, they made this safe, so I mean, that's something. And I believe that's it for Reptile. Kameo Tremor changes. So yeah, if you hit Tremor, you can no longer use Tremor as a meat shield as easily. It locks him out for 10 seconds. That's crazy. Considering if you hit Shujinkydink, it locks him out for like 3 or 4. He's privileged in that way because you have to put him on screen to charge him. So no more meat shielding with Tremor, at least not for free. So that's the only change it seems that Tremor's getting. These are sometimes just teasers, right? So there's other things that might get changed and small things, but I think these are like the big ones that they wanted to show off. So I know everyone was waiting for this one, Cyrax. So her bombs build less meter, and that's something that Brown Boy was saying that would be a good nerf, because she builds so much meter from all those bombs. So they build less now. So that's good. She's going to have less opportunity to kind of do things. And this next one is kind of huge. The foam is just like the Reiko stars. Does not win any trades anymore. So she can't just throw it out all willy-nilly, trying to win and just kind of catch a trade and then full combo. So she's still got the setup, she's still got the mix, she's still got all the craziness. She's got to be a little bit more mindful of her meter and a little bit more mindful with zoning. So yeah, that's I'm happy to see that. Yeah, I never want to see a character get absolutely just destroyed, you know, if they can help it. And I was curious how they were going to balance her in this way, but this looks like a super healthy way to do it, so I welcome it. Rain changes. The water beam is faster. A little bit of faster starter, so it creates more combos with his grounded combos. with the cancels. So kind of interesting to me that like when they first talked about Rain, he was supposed to be the quote-unquote premier zoner in the game. And now he's turned into a complete rushdown cancel combo character. So it's kind of interesting to see the evolution of this character. And here we go. The bold, beautiful man himself, Quan Chi. So Quan Chi's best foot forward, best foot backward is an overhead. So I will say that I went to the lab to confirm what it is now, and it's 17 frames. So considering that 18 frames is like the reactable, then his back 3 is 16 frames. So you have this unreactable overhead low mix up now. Again, that could change the frame data on this so it's a little bit slower. But I mean, I really think he needs something like this because this is going to make Armor Portal that much more scary, you know? Overhead, are you going to get smacked with like 4 overheads, or are you going to try and take a low, or like, you know, this is a really good change for him and not one I actually would have seen coming, to be honest. I can't wait. And then the second change to Quan. Psycho Skull is 5 frames faster, so not only do you have to worry about overhead projectiles and the zoning, he also gets more combo routes because that never comboed before. So that's super duper interesting. I can't wait to get my hands on this new Quan Chi tomorrow. It's going to be absolute blast. For Omniman, Earthquake Stomp 4-3 is safe on block. Now, I will say most of the time when I play Omniman players, they seem to like hard commit into the float anyways and makes it kind of punishable. So, I mean, hopefully this is a good change. I mean, it's going to be a quick armor break, so hit somebody on your wake up kind of a thing. I don't know much about this character to really comment past that, but this looks like it's super, super useful. Goro changes. So I think some people are going to be a little bit disappointed here. The only change that Goro seems to be getting, which is kind of significant because I do believe he now has the highest damaging throw in the game at 150 damage. So that's not nothing, but I think the idea behind this is that like, because Goro's cooldowns are so long that when you're waiting for him to get back up to charge, he can do something else for you that doesn't take the cameo meter, right? So you get an extra 40 damage on your throw, so he kind of buffs your strike throw game if you're playing that type of character, while also adding some utility when he has his cameo meter back. That's kind of what I'm thinking about it. The only thing that really makes sense to me, but either way, he's got the most damaging throw. Li Mei, I have a question. So this is pretty obvious, and I like this. An overhead. Not really much of a mix-up there because, like, you know, they know it's coming, but it's just one extra thing to kind of think about or maybe hit somebody with. So I've been playing a lot of Li Mei, as you know, lately, so it's been a lot of fun. Now, I feel like this one it's either worded weird or worded wrong, because as far as I know, because we went over this in the podcast a couple weeks ago, and this exact thing is what I asked about, and it was confirmed in the comments that this is already in the game. So that's why I'm curious about maybe if they change the up block, because I noticed the up block still kind of cancels it, but in this demonstration, so maybe it's just on the last hit. I need a little bit of clarification on what exactly they meant here. Kenshi changes. So 4-4 is special cancelable. Don't know enough about Kenshi to know whether that's going to be like quote unquote save him or not, but that's kind of cool. Always like to see Kenshi as infuriating as he is to fight. You know, again, you never want to see a character like gutted. I kind of feel that's kind of what happened to him a little bit in the last patch. Moving on to Stryker. So grenades recharge faster. So we went full circle here. So they're going right back. I don't think it's as fast as they used to be, but it looks like they might be kind of somewhere in the middle. So yeah, I don't know if we're going to bring back that meta, but Kameo Sub-Zero changes. Old shoulder is completely invulnerable now, so giving him a wake up, that's cool. I'd like to see them fix that for Shujinkydink, to be honest, but here we are. And the Arctic armor now absorbs all projectiles, so you can't break it anymore. It's permanent. So a little buff to that. Not crazy about that as a zoner, but I mean, we have other ways. So Homelander changes. So the 7 slam increased damage scaling, so that's going to do less damage, which I think it should. You know, it's a grab, but I mean, you know, in my Twitch chat yesterday, they were saying, well, you know, all his charges towards you are highs and you can duck everything. And, you know, I think the overhead's kind of his mind game there, but either way, I think they just kind of realized it wasn't really a fun thing to to be playing around with. So like to see that. So Jax and Cameo Jax, ground pound travels full screen. So no longer is it kind of like you have to jump or you're taking that damage, which means I'm already thinking about like Quan Chi can't even say it, Quan Chi Jax, like locking you down with zoning and a full screen ground pound. That's actually kind of crazy. So I'll be probably playing around with that team a little bit more knowing that. But and then this one is a welcome one as well. The straight missile fatal blow is a high. So it gives that added incentive of being a projectile. But if you react, then you can duck it. And looks like you can punish it. So that's good. Cameo Frost. Ice Crash is completely invulnerable. So, you know, a good wake up. I think it had a little bit of invulnerability before, but it's not like the greatest. And then Darrius as well, getting the twister kicks is now, and same idea. I think it had a little bit of invulnerability, but you could time it and beat it. So just trying to give some cameos wake ups here, it looks like. Just again, added utility, and I think both of the Frost is safe. Darrius is punishable only if you flawless block the last hit of those spin kicks. Then I believe it turns at -15, but otherwise it's safe at -7, I think. So Cameo Meter from Hellblade refills faster, so you can throw that overhead out that I never block a little bit more. Love that. And then Movado. They spelled Movado wrong, by the way. Can I go back? Movado. Kind of funny, but either way. So there is more time for him to refill from using these moves that, you know me, I've been so salty about Movado. And yeah, so I'm happy to see a little bit of a nerf, and honestly I think that he got a little bit of a slap on the wrist here. So Conan changes. That has 7 more frames of hit stun. Didn't play him long enough to really know what this will actually do, and Shujinkydink was my combo path for him for the most part. So it'll be interesting to see what people come up with that. T1000. Everyone was waiting for this. The overhead is removed from that string. Now, does this kill the character? No, I don't think so. I think this was the most annoying part of playing against T1000 is it just seems like a guess. You know, is the low was 11 frames, the overhead was 11 frames. It was just a pure guess. Into full combo, easy hit confirm. So now that you're kind of playing between the low and the command grab, there is a way to kind of skirt both of those, but who knows what they're going to do with those moves as well. So they could change those and make those not even a problem anymore. But again, I'd never want to see a character just completely demolished. I think this is just, as far as we know, that's the only change to T1000. Havik. So here's a character that if you played Havik, you're going to need a little bit of a readjustment here, I think. All right, so starting off, so Flesh Wound, second hit is a mid, and the third hit is an overhead. So that kind of takes away a little bit of the fuzzy that he had from that low overhead. So that's an interesting change. So that's no longer safe. I believe it was -7 before. Maybe it's -8 or 9. Doesn't say exactly how safe, but you can't just throw that out anymore. You have to stagger it or be careful. Increased damage scaling, that already scaled like a little bit at a time. So now you have a nerf to Havik and Movado. Albeit not the same thing Movado does, but you know, that team is very common. So you're gonna have to find a different team or a different strategy, or just you're doing less damage. I don't know what to tell you. And then Ashrah changes, a slight buff to Ashrah here with the sin damage increased. Now, I made that Shujinkydink video a little while ago. Shout out to Crazy Psycho, who found out that this with Shujinkydink also got the damage increase. So my immediate thought is if Shujinkydink is going to get this damage increase as well. Sometimes when characters get buffed, Shujinkydink gets buffed, and sometimes when characters get nerfed, Shujinkydink gets nerfed. So this is one of those interesting situations where I'm kind of curious to see what happens. I can't wait to get my hands on this patch tomorrow. I definitely will be streaming some matches over on Twitch. Links in the description below. Let me know what you think of these patch notes, and like as usual, This is probably not everything. NRS has done this before, where they'll just have a little teaser video, but there's more stuff that comes, not as exciting stuff, like less intricate stuff, but just some stuff in general. So yeah, that's it'll be interesting to see what all is included in that. But that's kind of my thoughts on what's coming tomorrow. So yeah, as always, if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like because it really helps me out, and subscribe if you haven't, because I make new videos almost every single day. Hashtag Bonehawks, all that stuff, and we'll see you Bonehawks in the next video.
Accept your death.